Yahoo! Prof here, and I've got a video for you all that I know you've been waiting for. I've had a little bit of hype leading up to this, and what is this? This is the LTT Screwdriver. Yeah, you can't tell from the box. You know what this is? Another LTT Screwdriver. Which versions did I get? Find out. Alright, so we're going to use this little area over here because it's all I've got free for now. Oh, that mount is going to fall. There we go. I'm using GorillaPod, or the lock line, essentially, that a GorillaPod's made out of. Or the alarm from the GorillaPod is made out of. Don't just want to pull on the end. To yank it off. Alright, so what do we have here? But 2 LTT screwdrivers. And to be truthful, I wouldn't be surprised if you couldn't tell. To me, that just looks like a black box. We also got a bunch of extra bits. I ordered any of the bit sets that I thought would be useful. And then I can kind of load these up. I may have to order other ones in future orders just to get, like, if I figure out what my loadout's going to be. Originally I was thinking I was going to do one, like, normal and one Allen, keep them both down here. Depending on how these are, I may load them both up the same, keep one in the bag in the car or in the bag upstairs, and then the other one down here. So, previously, we looked at the competition. Oh, and I did find the extension for this one, which I think is Dewalt's closest competition. And this is actually an improvement that I've seen on other screwdrivers now. I would consider an improvement possibly over the Megapro here, which means it's probably an improvement over the Lion's Tech Tips. But this one's nice because you can pop that off, and then you can stick in the long bits here. They're a little loosey-goosey, but at least they do work. If that had a notch in it, then it would be... What I mean by that is... here's a 6-inch Milwaukee bit. See, there's a little cutout here. So you can put that in here, but it's... I would say this is probably the closest comparison from that's a bit different that I've not seen anybody compare to. This is also a very close comparison also to Dewalt, and this is a grip style that I think grip material that they should look into in the next revision of the screwdriver, because it is molded like on a drill. Same thing as this here. This feels much better though, much more supple. Granted, I've had this one for much longer, many more years. But this rubber's real nice. This whole bit down, this whole garbage down here, that is trash. Check out the previous videos where I go over that. This is another one though that came out like right as they announced availability for pre-orders for the screwdriver. I didn't know they were going to be that far out actually for shipping. And you'll see why mine took so long. See, look, do you see how easy it is to cross-thread this? And it's like, oh, the Snap-on has that down. For reference, here is the Snap-on. I could not find my original orange one anywhere. I think it may have done one of those things that it does when you work on work job sites and stuff, where it walked off. That one would have been nice and worn. This one I bought used because I just wanted the cheapest one for comparison. It is not used. There's no lick of use on any one of those bits. It literally came in packaging, so this is not used. And apparently pink, because it's for their like breast cancer awareness stuff. Is like people pay more for these, and I got it for used, decent quality, used Snap-on screwdriver pricing. I want to say $60 maybe. Yeah, Snap-on screwdriver is more than LTT. This is the old one. They also have a newer one where the shank pops out and you can put different lengths in. This one's orderable in different lengths. If you've seen any like Project Farm do a he reviewed the Williams. Williams is who makes the Snap-on one, the original Snap-on one for them. So there are some differences there. And then here's going to be our closest competition. And that's why a lot of these, I used a little bit here and there just to get some vibes to them, but I didn't want to have like brand new screwdrivers compared to I mean, I'm not going to buy a new one of these. And I ideally wouldn't have bought a new one of the Snap-on. But this is the Megapro. This bit holder thing, crazy cool. The one thing I still don't understand though is why they didn't do it like I've seen other brands do this as well. I think it makes more sense to put them facing in, because then you just stick your finger in and pop it up. Whereas these you kind of got to go from the outside. Also, at least on the Megapro with this disc here, prevents you from putting one big long bit in there, which I will grab one for testing on the LTT. The Megapro is backwards, like most screwdrivers. The Snap-on, you lock the ratchet in the direction you're going. So which one do we do first? Let's take a look at the back here. We got this screwdriver this is the screwdriver we always wanted. Megapro's retractable bit cartridge, own shape, feel, finish. Best of what we saw in the existing screwdriver space. We'll see what I think about that. I should also mention that for probably at least 5 years now, I mainly use electric screwdrivers for building PCs. Here's my favorite one. Older Snap-on. This one's not made anymore. You can still get them used or refurbished. Actually buy Snap-on themselves. This is the CTS 661. The 725 is one gen newer. That's what I'd go with if you can get your hands on it. Yeah, here's one I managed to get while they still actually manufactured them. I have a much older one from 10 years ago at this point. The one I recommend you guys get if you don't want to pay Snap-on prices is this Dewalt. It's $100. Comes with 2 of the 8-volt batteries. Convertible, right? Also gyroscopic. Doesn't turn. The more you turn. So this is the one I generally recommend to people. I personally really like the rocker trigger on the Snap-on, and I use it for more than building computers, obviously. Not that you can't with the Dewalt as well. I know a lot of you have picked this up off the affiliate link. I will put it down below. If you are interested in the Snap-ons, hit me up. I can help you in our Discord. It's probably easiest, or on Twitter. I'll give you some search terms to watch and like kind of explain what stuff you might want to look out for. I may have some videos up on the channel for that. But for at least 5 years, I've mainly used electric screwdrivers. I want to say actually since I got my original Snap-on about 10 years ago, I started slowly going over that. It's just faster, quicker, etc. for me. I believe Jace Two Cents mentioned that. He didn't use like one like that. He had like a standard screwdriver shaped one that was electrified. That didn't have a torque limiter. To work on a PC, buy one with a torque limiter. Or a tension ring like this here, so you can set how tight you want it. Super important so you don't crush it. So, but because Linus was making this, I do still use ratcheting screwdrivers for putting in especially radiators and fans, because you don't want to strip those out. I do them by hand. So, and I did try to use more ratcheting screwdrivers, because otherwise normally I just use a standard shank screwdriver. I believe Luke has mentioned that before, where he's like, he didn't really have it. He just used a normal screwdriver. He had no need for one, because you either go drill or normal screwdriver. That's pretty much what I do. But I've been trying to use both, like the Snap-on. I've used that a bunch previously. Used to have one. Don't know what happened to it. The Megapro I wanted to try because the scissor actually has a really nice action. It's really freaking heavy. And this is actually the closest model. A lot of the people that compared the Megapro to the LTTs you're about to see chose the wrong model in my opinion. Didn't have a stainless shank. And the other bigger thing is you can get one that looks like this, but unless you get the automotive R version, you don't get the individual 1-inch bits. You get double-ended proprietary bits, or somewhat proprietary bits. So this one is basically this screwdriver before they made any of their changes. And I do not like this rubber. It is molded into the plastic, but you can tell it's very thin, in my opinion. And it actually does get slick from my use. I have very sweaty, grimy, not grimy hands, but like sweaty hands. I sweat a lot. And I much prefer, like I said, like this Dewalt here. That feels really nice. And this one ain't half bad, but they just didn't put the rubber in the right places. Here it just seems like they took a flat surface and wrapped a piece of rubber around it. It is molded in, so I don't worry about it peeling away or anything, like on some cheaper screwdrivers they might. But I feel like you don't get any more traction. And here's what I mean by molded rubber, like on a drill. They actually do a 2-shot mold, so it's the hard plastic first, and while this is still slightly warm, they squirt on the grippy rubber-ish feeling plastic. That's how any power drill that you've ever seen is. So the screwdriver he's always wanted, Megapro retractable bit cartridge. Dude, I've used the Megapro. That feels the snappiest one I've seen so far. I still wish they'd kind of flip the bits though. Best we saw, we spared no expense trying to make a perfect multi-bit screwdriver for everyone, whether you're a PC enthusiast, handy person, or just somebody who appreciates quality and products. Confident this will be our go-to driver for years to come. Being that it's based on the Megapro, would not be surprised. I don't necessarily like the what do you want to call it, like black emboss. It's not an emboss because it's not into it. It's raised up. It's printed on, but it's in black. It's very hard to read. If these were on a shelf, you'd never know what they are. Now, granted, they don't have enough of them to put on shelves right now, and nor are there really shelves that they would get put on. But that just looks like a generic black box, which is fine because that's the kind of packaging I expect. A lot of times the older Snap-ons are even just in cardboard. It's pretty common for them to be in a tube as well. You could do just a cardboard tube. The Megapro here, which is actually cheaper, it's around $40 for this specific version, 40 to 50, I would say. Just came in this little sleeve. You know what I mean? I just feel like if you're gonna put like into something more like this box, I don't know if I would have gone with this route, personally. I don't know if it... The other thing, though, is does it really matter? Because this isn't going to be a... It'll be a retail product, but how... Like, you're not going to see this on the shelf at Home Depot. You know what I mean? So, which one do we go with first? Let's go with the one on the right here. We'll take a look at these once we see what comes in here. Well, there you go. And now you see why my order took longer. Black on, black on, black on, black. That's right. Okay, in the hand, this feels way better than Megapro. Now, there's no weight in it right now. Let me grab another bit. 1 second here. Okay, this is not going to work. Here is a neck size up bit. I don't know if you can see this very well, but it does not fit. I was hoping you could stick a longer bit in there, like, you know, because there's this little ring that you can spin to better hold in the bits, because otherwise it doesn't even fit the standard 1-inch bit, and I'll show that shortly. I don't know if I necessarily am pro for that, but if LTT is going to sell quality bits, which it sounds like they are, like they may even be quality enough because it's S2 steel that I might use them in other screwdrivers, which they say don't, but I don't see why not. If you guys think I shouldn't, tell me why down below. But if they're good quality bits, it's always nice to have a place where you can always replenish quality bits, you know, for reasonable price, and they're definitely selling them reasonably. So here's some 1-inch bits. This is probably my favorite one. This is the Milwaukee Carbide. Does not fit. And that's because they're running those shorter bits. Now what they say you can do is if you move that out of the way, you can go like that and then it'll fit. So at least say if you break a bit and you need to use one, you can stick a standard sized 1-inch bit in here. I would stick to theirs because otherwise you're losing. This is going from a 12-bit screwdriver to a 6-bit screwdriver. There we go. Now here's one I almost think they should come up with a smaller version of that. I might mention that to them. They're already looking at adding a punch down tool bit on my request because it'd be nice. I know it doesn't have the punching part of the punch down action, but just having the bit to be able to push it in there, that'd be real handy. And what this is this is a essentially this here for a socket. Here's one that would lock into like a drill or you know, a chucked screwdriver sort of. So it's just a 1/4-inch socket. So it'd be nice to have this one, and you're like, well, why do you have this socket readily available like a single one? This is 3/16. If you're wondering why, that's the size of most standard 632 standoffs. So it might be nice to have a 3/16 hex drive in here. Otherwise, having this would not be a bad adapter to have in the smaller form. And the reason why I say in the smaller form is I wouldn't want to sacrifice 2 bits for this, but I might sacrifice 1. King Arthur. Yeah, what's up? What are you doing? Yeah? Yeah? Thank you. Alright, so one thing I thought was a bit cheesy, and some other people, I don't know how to say cheesy necessarily, but Megapro comes loaded up, right? This Dewalt does not. It's $18 though, and they give you more bits than fit. So this only fits 6 bits. The snap-on only comes with 5, I believe, but it's just an empty cavity. And I've thought many times over that now snap-on does, or sorry, Dewalt does give you that option, and the problem is this comes off, but it's way too easy. But then you could just use it as King Arthur. You're literally on everything, everything. Holy jeez, dude. Oh man. The kitty cat wants attention, guys. Yeah. You heard me talking, didn't you? This is a screwdriver. Yeah, once again, I'm faffing with this. Trying to not cross-thread it. I didn't realize how close this was, essentially, to a existing, I'm not going to say stolen design, but... Oh, King Arthur, you knocked over all of the Pokemon cards. Oh. Hop up over there on your bed. Yeah, go on your chair. Here. See in here, pop that in there. Well, here you go. You can put a socket on there. Be nice to have a shorter version of that fits the LTT screwdriver. So I might bring that up as well. What I was saying though, before King interrupted, was that I almost wish this came filled. I kind of don't know. I mean, the only reason I see why it doesn't is it would cost them to fill it. If they wanted to do different screwdriver loadouts, right? You know, like this, instead of coming with the standard screwdriver bits, which are right here, which are Phillips 1, 2, 3, square 1, 2. Is it? No, it's hex. 3 hexes, 2 squares, 3 flatheads, and the magnet. If they want to do a different loadout, like any of these here, all I have to do is swap this in the box. Now, where that doesn't kind of make sense is these are retail Phillips and all various sizes, right? The one in here is not packaged with the retail with the different kinds on it. I would have thought they would have just taken one of these and popped it in there. Not the case. Probably cheaper doing this, I would imagine. But then if you're gonna cheap here, like this is cheaper, what's the price difference just to put them in the screwdriver? I believe some other people have mentioned that. And I'll run this with the standard loadout to start with. The fact that this fits 12 bits is quite unique. And I plan to actually load this up and use it that way. This sits over here by my tool bench, or by the PC building area. That's why there's no bits in there. If you're like, oh wait, why are there no bits in there? That's why. Now here's where something like this, see, even in here, this doesn't fit. That would be, make it come a little bit further. And if you could fit these longer ones in there, sometimes that would be really nice. This also, though, fits 12. It does not do the thing where it spins, though, like you'll see shortly, or if you watched my Megapro review. Here are our bits. Very hard to see because it's black on black. But, yeah, I don't know. Alright, so here we just got a little LTT. I do like how when it opens up so you can see the bit sets by default. Like it was vertical like this and then it popped up. That was kind of nice. You can buy I have one of each, I believe. There's 5 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I just bought one of each just to see if I need any more. Bunch of Phillips. Got some duplicates, bunch of hex, metric, bunch of US hex, Torx, security Torx, and specialty bits. Realistically looking at this, unless I find a different setup I want, there might be only one of those I need to buy additional from here. Otherwise, I'll just keep these in one of my little magnetic bit trays I'll go and grab. That's actually the one I planned on using up there. Great. But having a nice source of new bits. By the way, guys, if you get worn bits, you can't really see it on this Phillips one here. This is like an old Irwin impact rated bit. They had forged bits, and then they later on made forged impact rated. Still have a couple of those. They used to have them at Fleet Farm before Fleet Farm got bought out and changed all the brands they carry and stuff. I really like these because they were a bit more unique, harder to find. You can see a bit of wear on that tip. That's not worn out. But if you see where the tip's starting to round off, hawk the tip. That's why they're replaceable, and get a new one. So I do believe you actually get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We only do have 12. Really? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I almost think you could have gone 13 bits, and the reason why I say that is you can have 12 here and 1 in here. I don't think that would have been the worst idea ever. It's kind of nice how these are marked. Are they individually packed? No, it's just like one tray. So once you get one out, they slide around. So here's where I would say, like, it looks nice that those have the bits listed down here. But being that there's not like individual places to put them, I wouldn't worry about it, personally. Because as soon as you do anything, it's going to get all mixed up. For a 1/4 inch bit, Phillips 0 is about as small as I would go, personally. If I'm holding this in my right hand and I pull this out, would I want to go this way? Sure. I'll put the Phillips on the bottom. Phillips 2 right here, or this is Phillips 1. Oh, here's something else I'd like to show. Here's a Megapro screwdriver. Here's Linus Tech Tips bits. Wow, they fit. See, I see no reason why you might not buy their bits if they're good quality, because they're a reasonable price, and you can get all these kind of semi-unique sets. They're not like really actually that unique, but these are definitely higher quality in my opinion than iFixit. iFixit's bits, I don't know if they're made from mild steel necessarily, but they have a lifetime warranty, so it doesn't really matter too much. You know, that they just immediately break. But it is kind of annoying. I'll admit that. Next up here we got hex. Like, oh, the ones I would probably pull out of here, like they put Squaredriver in here. Oh, they don't have Posidrive. PZ. They do have some Y ones listed under specialty. We'll have to figure out what those are. But I need Posidrive. Anything that you get from Europe, like IKEA stuff, is made with Posidrive. And being that I'm not in Canada, I'm close to Canada, but I'm not in Canada. Canada, for those wondering, not Canada. But being that I don't actually live up there, it was only a very short period that we had Squaredrive, or what they call Robertson. Because we went straight to Torx, generally, which is superior. Fight me. Phillips is horrible, but I mean, I shouldn't say Phillips are flat. These might also get pulled out. It's good to have maybe one in here, but they go pretty darn small. I don't know if I'd use a screwdriver this big for a flathead that tiny. If you can see it in there. I think you're just... Ooh, there's a little bit of movement in the end cap. Yeah, it's in the... Because this cap itself spins as well, which is nice for when you're ratcheting real good. It's actually even more important, and Luke mentioned this, the spinning butt cap, which it'll also do on this Dewalt, but poorly, is important when you're not ratcheting, because you have to constantly go, imagine a precision screwdriver. You know, you hold it here and you spin it. So it's less common to see a spinning butt on here, but yeah, this one definitely creaks. I wonder if the Megapro does that. Never tried that. Nope, Megapro does not. And you can just see size-wise. Look at that. You can actually see right here that that's very similar. But length, it's much smaller. In the hand, this feels much better, this triangular grip. This is too slippery though. Notice that right away. I may have taken a slight peek before making this video for you guys. I didn't unbox anything, as you can tell I'm doing it right now. but I picked it up and put it in my hand. Even this little bit of rubber grip that I think is too thin, and I don't necessarily like these bumps here, because those will round off and go flat pretty quick. That is slick, like super duper slick. Not slick in a cool way, or slick as in Luke. Slick as in slippery. Even the snap-on that doesn't have any rubber, this is grippier. Because I don't know if this is a nylon based. I think it might be. But you can see those little like the grain structure in it, or fiber structure, right? That's grippier by far compared to the LTT. This fits in your hand really good though, in my opinion. I don't like, and that's with a non-gloved hand. You have to remember, a lot of times when you're talking about, especially like automotive, right? You're going to be doing stuff with gloves on, and this fits fine in my hand. But I do have apparently larger sized hands. I think they're actually about average, but I know I do have a big fat thumb. That gets in the way, and I bump. If you watch our mouse reviews, if there's not enough room for my thumb, I don't like the mouse, because I bump the side buttons. Because I actually use the side buttons. So the square is probably coming out of here, because in the amount of time I use square, I'd rather use something else. I just grab the one time I need the bit. So I can tell you that is a very strong magnet in the end of this. And I know they were aiming for that, like for the size. There are some that have stronger magnets, but the shank is bigger. Yeah, even Megapro's own driver is much lighter. Let's check the. Maybe I should just leave the snap-on out. Yeah, the snap-on only comes with 2 Phillips and 3 flats, and you just hawk them in the butt here, like this, for the classic snap-on. And you got room for twice as many, at least. You can put some random stuff too if you have like little pieces of things. So here is me dropping a bit. Here's the Linus Tech Tips Phillips 2 going in the snap-on. Oh, that's barely got any magnetic comparatively. But as you can see, it fits fine in the snap-on as well. So to be truthful, I don't know why. Like, that's another reason why I might buy more bits, is I might just standardize on using their bits for all my stuff. If they're good. We'll see how they hold up. Should be S2 steel. From what I understand, though, they did just make them black for corrosion purposes, that these are not impact rated. And that is a little bit confusing, because this generally meant, when you see black bits at like Home Depot, Fleet Farm, Menards, Lowe's, when you see a black bit versus a silver bit, this Dewalt here, that's not impact rated. You can find, and I do own, a bunch of black ones in the exact same shape. They're just different metal that's been hardened differently, whereas this is impact rated. So don't get confused. From my knowledge, that even though these are black, they're just S2 tool steel and not impact rated. That is here. There you go. We got 3 bits. That's just with the Phillips bit. Let's see here. Alright, so right here is a big pile of screws. These are radiator screws. Slightly different because they're for a Hardware Labs radiator. And Hardware Labs, in their great knowledge, uses M4 screws, not 632 like pretty much everybody else. Now you're gonna be like, well, why does it only pick up 1? These are black oxide stainless. There you go, 3. And you're like, black oxide stainless? I thought stainless steel wasn't magnetic. Actually, stainless steel is slightly magnetic. So the fact that this is going 3, almost 4 of these screws, like easily 3. I'm almost picking up the 4th. Let's see if I, yeah, it can pick it up like a little bit off the ground, but that's about it. So just for comparison, let's go with this is that cheap $18 DeWalt. This ratchet on here is so loose. It's like a little fun kid's toy, kind of loose. The knurling here is really, really, really good. This knurling, where you're actually going to use it, is awful. And that is something that Gordon, who reviewed this, I think in a YouTube short, really liked about it. We'll take a look at that momentarily. Alright. Gotta keep swapping in batteries. This thing's overheating stupid fast. That feels really good when it's locked in the middle. Like, it feels solid. Something like the Megapro has a bit more play to it. Snap-on. I actually prefer this larger engagement required to switch modes. The non-locked on the Snap-on is quite tight as well. This felt like there's a little bit of play in here, guys, but like this feels rock solid, as if it were like a standard straight shank screwdriver. And sometimes you want that, actually. I know Linus has mentioned he never uses it in non-ratcheting mode. Sometimes there are things that you're doing where you want that, like threading in certain types of screws. I found the need where I need to do that, but here's my first. Oh, this is knurled so much, so well, or even more knurled than this selector. Now, this is too much, and it's a loose movement on the DeWalt here. $18 versus more than 60. And this ratchet just feels like, oh, it sounds very ratchety, but it feels awful. Like they just, I'm sure you can hear that. It just sounds way too fine-toothed. Now, here's one thing that Linus did. The Megapro isn't normally like this. Turn right. Well, there's barely any movement. I don't know how much I like. It's actually hard to get the. There you go. Oh, it just had a little bit of work. Oh. The amount of force that takes is nothing. And it sounds so good. Okay, like this knurling puts the Snap-on to shame. Snap-on just has this little tiny bit here. The Williams version, the OEM version of this, has none, by the way. And there's so much force required to get this going. This is just like, you can't even do that on the Snap-on. That feels like really good. Now, can we do the old trick that I was just doing? Sure can. I was wondering. It's harder to do on the Megapro. It's much heavier. That's another thing with this. Not only did they seem to get the weight of the screwdriver down, but you gotta remember, they also made the bits shorter. So there's less weight there as well. I may come to like this. Here. This is why I want the spinning butt. Maybe I can show it on the other one, because the other one is a silver and orange. But you can hold this If you have this in locked position, you see, but then you spin it like this, or if you're pressing down real hard, that's why I want the spinny butt. And the Megapro version does not spin as well. I think having this little bit of friction here on here lets you grab it, whereas this is fully smooth. So there's improvement there. The shape I do like better. I'll have to try it with a gloved hand to see if I still like it as much, because it does fit my hand very well when it's just a bare hand here. I personally would like to see some rubber on here though. And I would almost want it on the flats. Or maybe not, because a lot of times you need the rubber, you need the torque. I know, this one's quite good. I like... The whole thing's rubberized, though. So, maybe as an upgrade, you could just rubberize this handle. It'd be a little bit bigger, but you get some real torque on it then. Oh, it feels so good. Okay, so for comparison, though, we picked up 3 of these, right? Now, just to keep things fair, I will use the same Linus Tech Tips bit. And the reason why I'm using that is totally not because I don't want to dig out the other bits for each one of these screwdrivers. Barely does 3 on the snap-on. It'll do it. 4 is not even... It barely touches that. It'll do more, obviously, if we just take this and we kind of like... Because you're using the whole body of it. Alright, let's get some more of these out. You gotta remember, these are actually black oxide stainless, so these are not the most ferrous of materials. Let's grab this one out. Oh, this one was not upside down. I liked it better when I flipped up and it was the other way around. Now here's one thing I did notice, because this is one I opened previously. This doesn't really stay in there. The bit thing, it just kind of does what it wants to. I don't get why that is different than those. Why not just put those in here? Also, how it's marked on the inside is cool. You know, this looks cool, but being that there are not individual places for each bit, there's no point in marking the front, because as soon as you pull 1 or 2 out, it's done for. So here is this is probably one that I'll use more, because it's the stainless shank up here, and then the orange back. I ended up going this route because I thought, like, yes, black and orange is cool, but, you know, they make the stealth hoodie, the stealth stuff. I thought the black on black on black was the way to go. Most people at the poll and what you guys bought was actually the opposite. You would get silver shank on black handle and black shank on black and orange handle. I don't know why. I personally think this is the way to go. Now, this one is probably not available anymore. This was only for initial pre-orders. And I can definitely see with this coating, it's like a kind of a shiny black coating, why this would wear off really fast. I mean, that looks slick AF, though, in my opinion. Yeah, this is so much spinnier. You see that? That is so much spinnier than any of the other screwdrivers I have. You have no idea how much I appreciate that. Because I'm used to I use a lot of precision screwdrivers because I do a lot of laptop work. I did iPhone repair for 3+ years. Okay, so here we're going to do it with this one too, with the whole shank. Yeah, so it obviously does more. Let's try out the Megapro. The reason why we're using this bit is it's a little shorter, so like technically it has to go through less bit material to... Holy jeez, this isn't even going to do 2. Yeah. So Megapro, barely doing 2, can't even do 3. Alright. Next up, this Dewalt here. See, that is what I'm used to. You see this? Because that's stainless steel. Nothing with this Dewalt that runs through the extension. And yes, there's a magnet in there. Here's the $18 new Dewalt. This is kind of very similar to the Snap-on, whereas I'd say this is more similar to the Megapro. Okay, one. Can't even do one. There you go. That's, hopefully you guys now see, like magnet-wise, the difference between a $20 screwdriver and a $40, $50+ screwdriver. And you're like, this is unfair. That's black oxide stainless. Yeah, it is. But, you know, LTT screwdriver. See? Yeah, exactly. Here's the other thing that LTT has added. This little magnet guy. See how many we can do between the magnet in the driver and the magnet on the tip. 1, 2, 3. Can we not do 4? Come on. Even then I can't do 4. How many can I pick up like this though? There you go. I don't know what the properties of the magnet are. The very tip of it seems to be very, very sensitive. Like, see? But the magnet in the screwdriver alone, like, it's definitely looser. You know, this has almost as much. See? The magnet in the screwdriver, I don't know if it's the same magnet or... Oh, yep, you can already see. I already have some scratches in the black one, so I'm probably not going to use this one for the testing. Just because I'm jamming it in a pile of screws. There's a real little scratch there, because this is stainless. Stainless steel is quite hard, guys. If you don't know that. So we're going to fill up this other guy first here. We'll use that one for the rest of the testing. I will still use this one, but this will probably be the upstairs one that gets used less or something. Oh god, this is so nice. Look at that thing, stealth black. But I can see why they didn't go with this coating. Like, I already have a nick on here from just jamming in these screws. And that's how I might actually go to pick one of these up if I know the magnet's strong enough. Just stick it down there. When you pull it out, it's going to grab. Here, it's going to grab one. You know. And it's not like this is weak. It's just, you know, durability. Especially when you're jamming into stainless steel. It's just, weight-wise, I would like to actually compare these. I'll have to use the postage scale, which isn't the most accurate. I really want to get like a scale that's accurate down to the 1/10 of a gram. Those seem very expensive because technically, like if you're measuring grams, like what you do for mice, like computer mice, right? That's I do review those quite often. So if you want to be like something is 68 grams, well, you can't have a scale. I mean, you can. It's just incorrect. That is only accurate down to a gram. Like as in it could have plus or minus a gram, right? That's not okay. What you actually want, see, look, I took out a middle one here. Now look, they're all shifted. So personally, I would have just not bothered with labeling their individual placement because they don't stay there anyway. It does look cool. But, you know, like I said, I would have just used that because you already have it. I don't know. What do you guys think on that? Would you have a... I would truly, truthful also. I'd rather just see them in the screwdriver. I don't know what the concerns were there. If it was they thought they were going to fall out, or if, you know, stuff in shipping. But the Megapro comes that way. I don't know. A lot of other ones come that way. It did seem like some other people had that comment as well. Not that I can't put them in. I'm fully capable. But yeah, see, like once you get a couple out, that's just a mess. That might as well not be a thing. I know a lot of this is about presentation. That's just not packaging. As someone who, as you can see, has bought lots of screwdrivers, that I care about. Now, obviously, the audience for this is a bit different than the audience for a standard professional screwdriver, a professional grade screwdriver. There you go. So now we have, yeah, they got some weight once they got all the bits in. That force. Okay, here's another thing. And this is because of the coating. Obviously, these were milled before they were coated, right? The raw stainless, right? These wouldn't have been milled. This is what I'm pressed in. So what they do is they have a die and then weight, and they squish it in there, and then it goes burp, and it puts the form on there. So that's what that would have been done with. But it's much the knurling is what that's called. Knurling with a KN it starts with, knurl, essentially. The knurling is much more pointy. Like this. That's how low friction this is. I can do it with my thumb just like that. I don't think any of these other ones. Yeah. That's really cool. But it's much grippier on this silver. This is the one I would say pick up. Orange and black. You could get all black if you want to as well. Or get orange and black with stainless steel shank, because then you don't have to worry about getting it all nicked up. This looks stealth AF though. So if you wanted a collector's piece, you know. But if you're buying one, you know, I think they are eventually only making the stainless shank available, and I can see why that would be. I also do like how the black and orange looks with the slight accents there. I almost wouldn't mind seeing, because this is like that too. It's got some play in the butt cap that the Megapro doesn't have. So it is one thing that, like I said, I wouldn't mind seeing their take and see if it's possible to do the opposite way, where they're on the edges and they stick towards the middle. I'd kind of like to know the thought process behind it. And my guess, their thought process was Megapro already did it this way, but why couldn't you just flip the clips around essentially like that, and you pull it from the middle? So, but yeah, once I found this out with the Megapro, this is so nice. It's like, oh, I need a flat, or here you go. We need a hex 2.5. Okay, there you go. Now that says H2. Here's H2.5. This is what these are. Here. See? The fact that this picks up and easily. Like the other ones would pick up 1 or 2. This picks up multiple black oxide stainless screws. That's really good. Because a lot of stuff you get from McMaster car, if you want black, is going to be that black oxide stainless. Really nice flush fit with the shorter bit. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to put all these away. I had to swap all these out because I got the spacers from Noctua for Anthrax X, my desktop rebuild. Doing Ryzen 5000 because my RMAs came through and I had to buy a processor and that was it. So we'll wait till the X7000 X3D comes out and then I'll build I'll get a, hopefully, you would think by then too that the new, not the 4090 but the 5090 or 5080 will be up. Because I have a 3080 Ti, which is plenty good. That didn't need to get upgraded. See, look at that. No other ratcheting screwdrivers that I know of have this spinny enough back here. And that's really important when doing stuff like this. Say if you're doing laptop repair. Super important to have that back spinny. And I do like how they thin down each bit. They didn't do like DeWalt here, who tries to keep the bit as thick as possible, as long as possible. Do you see that? Like they actually thinned it down to whatever size, and that means that on a laptop you might actually be able to get in there and get at some of those recessed screws that you wouldn't like, that you normally need a precision screwdriver or like an iFixit kit to get at. That's gonna have a much better chance of getting there. Sure. Alright, so let's take a look at our bits here. We've got metric hex. Alright. We've got security torques. Looks like they're all color coded. Specialty set. I'm really hoping that Y there is PZ, positive drive. If not, I'm going to have to be all grumpy and be like, hey, you guys got to add positive drive. Imperial hex. Now for PC building, you're not going to use Imperial hex much, I don't think. I think you're going to use metric. And then Phillips. Philippe. Mr. Philippe. So let me get the bit holder I was planning on using for this. 1 second. Alright, I thought I had an orange one extra. I got yellow. I'll have this link down below. This is the, like, if you want to keep these nicely organized, this is the bit holder I recommend. Olsa Tools. Magnetic hex bit organizer. This is by far the best one of these that I've had. It even holds my Wiha power blades. Excuse me, power blades, which are, oh, here. See, look at how long those are. Those are, I don't remember. Like they're longer. They might be 3-inch, 4-inch. I don't remember. What is that? Like 40 millimeter, Something like that, but watch this. You're gonna think I'm crazy. That's why these holders are nice. But then when you go and grab it, it just comes right out. I thought I had an orange one set aside for the line of Tech Tip screwdrivers. I do not. Another yellow. I might have ordered 2 yellows because they were out of stock for a long time, and that is my preferred color for my tools. But so they're color coded. Obviously, I already showed you that. Phillips is red, metric hex is orange, imperial hex is blue, Torx security Torx is purple by the way. PUR-PLE. That's how I used to have to remember how to spell things. I suck at spelling. So this is a little bit more retail. Definitely, like, it's got the layered paper, like where the orange isn't printed. It's like another layer of cardboard essentially, and it's shiny, like it's a gloss. Once again, they do print out the individual bits, except they're all Phillips. I understand you're keeping like design trends or whatever, but once again, you pull one out, they're all misaligned. Also, since they're all Phillips, it doesn't matter. These shorter bits are a little bit, go in the holder a little bit far, but this one's got extra flashing on it. Let's try this here. Normally, I've never had to do this before, but there's always a first, you know. Looks like there's just a little bit over flashing on the mold here. On some of these spots. It's kind of annoying. Nice sharp utility knife for X-Acto blade. We'll take it right off though. This is for a adapter that I don't know why. It's like a 3 ASINs drive to 1/4 inch hex adapter, I'm gonna say. Something like that. I don't know why it's on every one of these. That's like 1, 2, 3, 4 more bits if they didn't put that there. So, and I would much rather have the additional bit storage, but I think like the original one of these that was designed had that. So that when somebody sets that trend or made this design of like, this is how a magnetic bit holder is designed, people aren't like, why is that how they're designed, you know? Yes, much better. There's a little bit of like if you're gonna call it flashing or what, but so you get 2 Phillips 0, 3 Phillips 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 Phillips 1s, 1, 2, 3, 4 Phillips 2s, and 2 Phillips 3s. So that's another option for getting swapped in here, would be a Phillips 3. Now I'm realizing actually that 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, yep. this is not going to be Phillips. I gotta get the back in the thing. And you're like, well, why isn't that going to be Phillips? And I'll tell you why. Because this thing only holds 36 bits, right? And why is that an issue that it only holds 36 bits? Well, because we have 5 sets of 12. That is more than 36. And you're like, yes, it is indeed more than 36, Elliot. It is in fact 60. So what I'm going to do is metric hex, imperial hex. The reason why they're going on different sides is so I don't mess them up. Yeah, that's kind of pointless. I'm just going to point this out. When every little thing on there is hex, why? I mean, you're already printing this, I get, though. This paper is very easily tearable. Not as in it's bad, like horrible, but as in it tears easily. So this has 1.5, 2 2s, 2 2.5s, 2 3s, 1 3.5, 1 4, 1 4.5, 1 5, 1 6. So I'm guessing they went off of what's the most common sizes. I would say 2.5 I use like a lot. That's, for at least computers, what seems to be the most common size. There you go, so that's metric hex. You could easily label this if you wanted to. With, like an actually ooh, that looks really nice. That blue. So this is 0.05 1/16. So you'd think 0.05 would be. It's odd that they went not fraction, because the rest are fraction. 16th, 5/64 is 2 3/30 seconds. Decently common size. And the rest are just all single sizes. I wonder if they doubled that up just so they would have hit 12 bits. This is kind of like a neat packaging, but like I said, this is, like, even though they're labeled in what order they are, you could not store it in here because it's, in like work from here, paper's too thin, the bits, as soon as you take 1 or 2 out, as soon as you take 1 or 2 out, they get all mixed up. So this is Torx and security Torx. We've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. That's reasonable, 1 of each. And 6 is where security starts. Now that's kind of annoying. Is 6 where security starts? Yes. There are security Torx 5s. There's got to be a reason why they didn't do that, though. I mean, like, here's a security Torx 6. It's pretty darn tiny. Torx 5, if you're wondering, Apple likes to use when they don't use Pentalope. So, there's this guy. And there's a decent chance that I'm going to actually label what each of these are, because I'll just keep replenishing these if they get worn out. Now, these do seem to be like quite quality bits. I don't believe they have warranties on the bits. I thought it was crazy that iFixit has lifetime warranties on their bits. Like, literally, you just contact them and they'll send you a new one. But they are made really cheaply by comparison. At least so far. Now, let's put these back in here. actually tell you how annoying this is shortly. It's not often I need a Phillips 3, so that's probably not going in there instead of the square drive or Robertson bits. It is fairly often, though, that I need pos drive 1 and 2. So that would easily replace square drive 1 and 2. And if you're buying this screwdriver over in Europe, you're definitely going to want the pos drive. Pos drive is like JCS, if you're wondering, that's Japanese Phillips. Pos drive is essentially European Phillips. Alright, so the PZ, or the Y, is actually Y, as in it's a 3-lobe. So like Nintendo uses those a lot. Alright. I don't know how easily you can see that or not. Alright. Yeah, you see I pulled one out to show you guys, now they're all jacked up. Okay, and then what we also do have are the 2 security ones at the end that are the 2 pins. Those are actually very important. Just had to give one of those to my mom because our toaster has security screws on it. You know, because how dare you want to get into your toaster, right? So think about that. With this Linus Tech Tip screwdriver, you could be a toaster repairman. Alright, so I checked just to make sure. And they do not sell pos drive. I ordered all the bit sets. I ordered one of each because I didn't know if I would need other ones. And like I said, the other kind I would want, I might put a 2.5 in here. But then the other one I would definitely want, you know, if I take out the squares. Also, like I said, I think we could carry 13 easily. Put one in the end here, like, or you can leave the magnet there. Probably what you're going to leave there is a Mr. Phillips number 2 here. You know, he goes in here. Yeah, and then what you do is when you need a different one, take it out, pull it out, put it in there, pop the other one up there. That's how you carry 13. So that's probably what I'll end up doing, is because I will want hex 2.5, because like I showed you, radiator, that's what they are. And keyboards, a lot of times if you guys see hex-based screws on your keyboards, the hex 2.5 are those. The other one that is very common is the, and they only give you one, and I think they should give you more, is the T15 right here. This, if you guys work on OEM systems, you know, like your HP or your Dell, the T15 is what is used instead of the Phillips 2. So if you're in that environment, like when I was at Geek Squad, you'd want one of these in your screwdrivers for sure. And you're going to wear that out pretty quick because you're going to be using this thing multiple times a day. Actually, I set up a couple of screwdrivers with, I don't know if they were necessarily ratcheting, but they were exchangeable bit screwdrivers. And the only screw bit, the bits I put in there was Phillips 2, Phillips 1, T15, and a flathead. It was those 4. And what was mainly on there? Phillips 2 and T15. Because anytime you go smaller than a Phillips 2, really, like unless you're just doing a quick, like M.2 SSD, that might be why you'd need a Phillips 1 in there. But if you're doing a laptop, you're probably going to need a Phillips 0 or even 00, or you're getting into the small Torx. That's where you want like a proper precision screwdriver, or if you don't want to, jump for that kit, which used to be the only way to do it, you can get an iFixit kit is super handy. But there's a reason why that we had dedicated screwdrivers, like when you're doing Apple repairs, because you're doing X number of phones a day, all using the same bits, and they had exchangeable bits as well that locked in to the I think they're Wiha handles, essentially torque rated handles, so that once it was a bit worn, you just chucked it because you couldn't risk stripping out a screw. Chuck the bit, that is, not the whole screwdriver. So I wouldn't mind seeing them including in a second T15. That's very common size. I would say this is probably T25 would be the next most common that I see, but that's more in house stuff that you're going to see the T25 a lot. Like your standard wood screws, like the 3-inch that you'll see holding 2x4s together, that's going to be a T25. The next smaller size down for that is a T15. So if you're going to be using this around the house, you're going to want those quite a lot. So maybe buy 2 packs of the Torx bits right away. I am going to throw. I mean, you guys can correct me if you think that this is not what what you feel, but I think there should be positive drive. If you build IKEA, even like if you're in the U.S. and you just build IKEA, you're gonna need that positive drive number 2. If you ever see like what looks like a Phillips with a plus in it, that's positive drive. And I've been seeing them on more and more things now. Taking apart a say if you're doing the PlayStation stuff, that's JCIS, a bit different there. And the profiles on the tips are different. Like if you have the ability to use the correct bit, like we could not get for PlayStation 3 the screw out that holds that hard drive in to swap it out for an SSD. And then we realized it was JCIS, not Phillips. And we had almost stripped it out prior to that. I mean, luckily, I feel like that might be why iFixit does cheap bits, because the bits are likely to strip before what you're working on will. So maybe that's purposeful. But, yeah, I need my posi drive action. At least a 1 and a posi drive 1, posi drive 2. That'd be replace the square drive bits in here for me. That's basically what I would change. I also don't know if I need 3 flatheads, because I would like to get a T15 in here, maybe, and that hex 2.5. So let me know what you guys would do for your bit setup, and this is kind of an initial look at these 2 screwdrivers. Man, is this ratcheting mechanism, like, it's super tight when it's locked. There's a little bit of play. Like, it's not like, I think Project Farm did one where it literally had no movement when it was locked. But it's tight. A lot of these other cheaper ones that I'm used to using, because I don't use a ratcheting screwdriver all that much, necessarily. Mainly it's for radiators and fan installs to cases, because fan installs are self-tapping screws that go into plastic. You need to make sure you need the extra torque if it's the first time you're putting it in, and if it's the future times you're putting it in, you want to line up those threads, because you do not want to cross thread it, because then you're cutting more grooves in the plastic. Do that enough times and you won't have any plastic to put screws into anymore. So you want to run it backwards a little bit, run it back with your fingers here, drops in, put it that way, and just start cranking it down. The other thing I do is radiators, and that's where these will go right now. And I will need that Torx 2.5. Or sorry, not Torx 2.5, Hex 2.5. Oh god, did I kill you guys? It didn't even stop recording. Hell yeah. So here you go. I got a mount. I double gasketed this side, and then I put the spacers on, the new Noctua spacers on this side. Right. So I did the same over here. However, I did not know. I should have checked my screws first. I didn't know that those were M4s, and Noctua shipped 632 because they ship 632 and M3 for the rad screws, the extended rad screws, which makes sense because most radiators are 632, and the next most common size of screws for computers is M3. So can't fault them. That Hardware Labs, who also makes Corsair's radiators, so you may run into that with them as well. Not 100% sure there, but they use M4. So I had to custom order the correct length screws. Not custom order, but I ordered them from McMaster-Carr, and I'll be using the new Linus Tech Tips ratcheting screwdrivers there for mounting up that next radiator and getting it mounted in the case here. The Case Labs case also does have a bunch of different wacky screw sizes because it's like real custom, you know what I mean? So we'll be able to test a bunch of that stuff, and a lot of mounting, and specifically this case, I do like being a little bit more careful because this is aluminum. Much softer than your, like your S340 over there that's steel. That'll blast through once we have all the parts in for rebuilding it with the electric screwdriver. Maybe the Dewalt, but probably the snap-on because I prefer the snappy. This is real fun to play with though. Hey, look, see, now you got a vertical one. This can be really nice for mounting motherboards. You just flip it back around, you got yourself a drilly guy. But I'll report back on how these do here. If you don't already have a nice ratcheting screwdriver, like the LTT is good. Want something a little bit cheaper that has most of the features. The Megapro, however, it is infuriating, like most, where I want to tighten it, turn it to the right. Nope, you got to turn it to the left to tighten. So also this shank is much thicker on their stainless steel magnetic version. Super thick, the same thickness all the way down, no knurling. The OG snap-on is still a really nice, the ratchet on here feels solid. It just feels like a, quality older design screwdriver. I would almost say if you're looking for this though, unless you get one used, they're still in great quality. But unless you get it used, I would just buy the Williams probably. You do lose the knurling, but I've shown previously how you fix that. A bit of friction tape. And you could have this whole shank part, plenty of friction and grippy for what you need. You could also put some of that or electrical tape over the front of these if you're worried about like hitting and wrecking things. Here's something that nobody talked about. So not only is the LTT screwdriver there you go. Not only is the LTT screwdriver smaller here, this is shorter. The shank. And I don't know how I feel about that because I feel like in a lot of computer situations, longer is better. So now this DeWalt is the longest, but that's because it's got like an extension in it. Compared to the Megapro it's based off of, that only looks to be a bit length different. And it might be, because the LTT is the shorter bit. So that difference there is probably just the length of the bit, essentially. But take a look at how much longer that snap-on is. Quite a bit. And this is pretty much standardized. When you get the longer length ones, this part lengthens out. And there are more places that have knurling. But that's something to keep in mind is, I would say, we can see in comparison here, all those are kind of lined up pretty decently at the beginning of the shank. The LTT is the shortest. And a lot of times for building PCs, take a look at that screwdriver over there. You need long ones. So, I don't know if this is more optimized for pocket use or, because the butt end is shorter too. I'm not saying that's bad. I think that's what Linus was going for, was something a bit more compact. It's just something to keep in mind is that your reach is not as far here as it might be on the snap-on if that's what you're used to, or even a standard, your standard screwdriver is going to be longer. Not the really long one, but the one over there next to it. It's going to be longer than what the LTT screwdriver is. And you still got to look at that guy though. Look at that. Black on black on black on black. How nice does that look? Right? Look at that thing. Look at that thing. But like I said, I can definitely see why. There's already a nick right there. And that's just from me jamming it in the thing of screws over there. So the one that's probably staying down here and getting regular use is the stainless orange and black. This guy's probably going in the office upstairs or in the car in my toolkit there. To be truthful, I was probably thinking Megapro and the toolkit in the car. This upstairs where it's going to see the least use. Still have it. We'll still see it regularly, but what I'll probably do for the Megapro though is swap out the bits for the LTT bits. So I did not check if they'll let you reorder the standard loadout. You know, like if you're just like, I want more of this, especially that magnet bit. I'd love to have like a magnet bit for each of these. Toss it in the handle of the Snap-on. Toss it in the Megapro. Oh, this one is just a cheapie. This is probably just going to go in the workroom. I just bought that for comparison, guys, because it was like sub 20 bucks. It was kind of odd that it came out in the timing it did. The grip on it is real nice rubber, though. So that's maybe something that they can consider over there. But yeah, let me know what you want from me in using one of these. It's definitely very flippable. The balance is quite good. I like how, my favorite thing is how spinny the butt is, despite being a ratcheting screwdriver. That it holds 12 is quite nice. Fits in the handle. It's slick though. And with my, I was gonna say mealy hands. Mealy? I don't know. The fruit's mealy. I don't know. Are hands mealy? Sweaty hands. I'd like to see some rubber on it. The knurling on here, blissful, especially on the raw stainless there. The amount of force that this look at this, one finger. Never had a screwdriver that can do that. That's a full size like this. But I need my pos drive bits. Well, guys, if you liked the video, please throw a like. Feel free to comment, yell at me, tell me how I'm wrong. But please, constructive criticism. Why? That's always important. If there's other stuff you want to see me compare this to, throw it down there as well. You can find me, I'm most active on Twitter, @TheProfosist, just like it is on the channel here. And you can hit up our Discord, linked down below in the description. I'll have some of the stuff I talked about, like the bit holder, as well as the Dewalt electric screwdriver, linked down below in the description. That is an affiliate link, does help me out. We talked about some of the stuff that it's helped me get before for you guys, and it's a lot of stuff you see on the channel. So, as always, have a good one. Peace.